What's up YouTube, Gcast back again, and we got another reaction video pulled up here. The captain's back at it again, boys. She's back at it again, and this time, she's worried about Wuthering Waves. What is she worried about? I don't know, but let's find out. Uh, be sure to check out her channel. She makes a lot of good content, and I'm not gonna lie, during my off time, I do watch a couple of her videos. She's actually very entertaining. So make sure you go show support and check out some of her videos. It's actually really good. Anyways, without further ado, let's dive right into it. Um, just fix the volume there, put that up, captions. We'll do it just like this, cause I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little bit hungry. So not try to get. Let's just try to get this a little quicker. Of course, I will give my thoughts on whatever takes or opinions are about to be made. Anyway, let's dive right into it. Let's see, what is Captain Cabinet so worried about in Wuthering Waves?
Months basically of a game that's basically just come out a few months ago, right? And 2 of those months people don't give a crap about. That's so bad for long-term player care, retention, and retention for a game.
Okay, so alright, so off the rip, let's see. Uh 2 months of she basically said 2 months of basically nothing. Bad for a long time. I do agree that like not having like much content, because I'm not gonna lie, yeah, the content for Wuthering Waves has been like kind of like dry. It's been kind of dry. Like, yeah, ever since Chang Li's story quest, ever since that video I did on that, I haven't really touched Wuthering Waves other than just doing dailies, and that's it. Now, I'm not saying that's like entirely a good thing, because that just means if there's other content in another game that you need to get into, well, you could go to that content, or you could just switch to another game and you could do the content for that game. As you're waiting for like new content to come for Wuthering Waves, right? So I don't think it's a complete bad thing. I do think, I mean, we'll see, but for like long term player retention, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for combat, then you can just always hop on Wuthering Waves and get the combat that you want, right? Um, if you want story, well, it's like if you want story, then it's like, yeah, you are gonna have to wait for that. If you want events slash rewards, you are gonna have to like wait for that as well. Not as long though. Um, Yeah, it just depends on what you want. Now, of course, if you're the typical person where you just want a casual player, you want like all of them. Yeah, you're gonna wait. There's gonna be a couple things you're gonna have to wait on, but the events and like the combat, gameplay, puzzles, depending on whether or not the game's like open world or not, it should keep you entertained for quite a while. And if not, there's always other games you can try and play. But anyways, let's see why is the problem's bigger. Why this is a bigger issue actually.
Honestly, I like this pacing. It gives me time for other shit and then they hit hard. So it's a dip in, dip out kind of thing. Do you know why I disagree?
So I'm just gonna my quick 2 cents on this take real quick, because I remember some people have made similar points about that for Genshin Impact, where they basically made the excuse of like, oh man, thank goodness that Genshin Impact there isn't anything interesting happening for the 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, the 3.6, whatever, right? Thank goodness nothing too interesting is happening. Thank goodness there's nothing like new amazing characters that I have to pull for. Thank goodness it's just a patch where I don't have to worry about trying to farm materials or whatever. I could just take my time, and I don't have to worry about it. I think that's like an excuse for that's just making an excuse for a game that has dead patches and there's nothing interesting going on in the game. People have made that um, point for Genshin Impact, but that's just you're just excusing lazy, people being lazy and not making new content in the patch, especially or like engaging content, right? So I think the whole yeah, I like the pace. It gives me time for other stuff, and then they hit hard, so it's a dip in, dip out kind of thing. It's like it's something along the. It's just that statement right there alone is just it's just along those same lines of like what people say about Genshin Impact during the Fontaine after Fontaine story quest for 3.0 and 3.1, and you could probably argue 3.2. After that, it was like okay, 3.3, nothing interesting happened. Nothing interesting happened. 3.4 dead patch, 3.5 dead patch, 3.6 dead patch. We're at 3 point crap. I can't remember. We're in 3.8 right now. All right, now let's coming around the corner, but it's like during those dead patch and 3.7, yeah, 3.7 there as well. It's like just nothing happened. Like really, it was just nothing. It was just like some mediocre events here or there. Nothing too concerning happening. Like I don't know. For me, it's just I don't like the idea of like the excuse of oh good, there's nothing interesting happening this patch. That gives me more time to catch up. It's like no, I feel like that shouldn't be the goal. If anything, the point is to like keep you more engaged with the game and make you stay there, or not make you, but like to get you to want to be more invested in the game and have you stay more long term. So that way you don't want to like miss out on like interesting story elements that are being introduced or interesting new gameplay, new characters coming. I mean, really, if it's a character that people like, that's one of the reasons why they'll come back for a dead patch. But other than that, there's nothing interesting going on.
With this take, okay? Overall, in general, with a gacha game, sure, you want there to be able to think you dip in, do your time, dip out, and it's all good, okay?
Yeah,
The
true.
difference is the first 6 months of a gacha game's life cycle is so important for long-term.
Why are you playing chess? Hey, listen, she can multitask. Okay, cool. She could multitask. She could play chess while also discussing this topic. I mean, I can do chess, but I can do checkers or not. Well, yeah, checkers and Connect Four.
Player retention and investment. You want the people who are invested from the very start to kind of carry it through, right? So
Yeah,
when you have pacing, which means after like a month, people kind of drop off, they don't care. They don't
yeah,
really. Then when a
that's
new
all.
patch drops, they kind of and
And I just want to reiterate that point that because that is a very important point. When a new like gotcha game like comes out and it's like yeah, all the hype is built up, everything's popping off. The kind of like is it the retention rate? I think it's the retention rate or something like that, or I think it's retention rate. Either way, it starts off at like a high peak, and then it dips down, right? It dips down, and then it builds itself back up. That typically happens for not just gacha games, but any type of game that has a lot of hype surrounding around it, surrounding, around it, right? So for example, it's like there was a lot of like build up hype for Wuthering Waves. It reaches peak, right? It died down dramatically after the first month or so, but then it went back up almost immediately, and now it's kind of like in like a somewhat stable, trend. Actually, you know what? Real quick. All right, let's look this up real quick. Go by Google Trends. Now I have it worldwide. This is yeah, games. I'm not sure if it should be on web search or not, but that's just web search. What? Does Google Shopping? Does that? Nope. That's the. All right, cool. But anyways, yeah. So this is worldwide. Weathering waves between zone 0 past 90 days, right? So as you can see, you see the peak here, right? I'm just like I'm not trying to compare it to. I'm just demonstrating like how this usually works when there's a new game. New game gets released, all right. Weather Waves got released around. Do you see the peak? May 23rd. I'm pretty sure it got released May 22nd, right? Let me see. Wuthering Waves first release May 22nd, exactly. So May 22nd. As you can see here, May 22nd, that was the launch, and then launch date then peaked up to its highest right here, 69. May 23rd. A lot of people were playing the game, right? Everyone was on it, even including me. Everyone was on the game. Then it dies down a bit after the initial 1.0. Of course, this was also because due to like a lot of bugs and like a lot of things were causing the game's issues. But Code Grains listened, they fixed the issue and gave us free stuff. Anyways, Like I said, there's the peak, dies down, it goes down, went back up like tiny bit, but now it's down right there. And now you see for Zenzo Zero, it released June 4th, or not June 4th, July 4th, 4th of July. The peak right here at 100, almost immediately afterwards, right? The day after, I'm trying to pin this off, July 5th, it dies down. Immediate drop. And then it goes down, keeps going down, then reaches its peak again on August 3rd, and then it's go down, and now it's climbing right back up. So I just wanted to show that real quick to demonstrate that when a game is getting hyped up, the hype is there, it's real. Just because the game dies down, usually a couple days, maybe even like a week after it's been released, that doesn't mean the game sucks anymore. It just means that everyone has explored all the content that's been available to them in that game, and now it's like they're either jumping on other games, to pass the time and make more videos on, or is they're trying to now it's just like they're full on um probably either live streaming or making videos about the game, about what they think about the game, especially in the end game content. So yeah, I just want that just to clarify that, like, just because the game comes out, it's gonna skyrocket, it's gonna reach a high point, then it's gonna drop down, and then you'll see at points it'll climb back up depending on the patch and how good the content in said patch is.
Are when they should return to play it, that's not good. And that's also not great for the company. For the first 6 months of a gacha game's life cycle, they have to kind of be on the ball and putting out content that's very good pretty regularly. Hell, even like 3 months. Let's just say even 3 months. And I don't think Wuthering Waves has been doing that. I'm gonna be so real. Like, Honkai Star Rail came out with banger after banger after banger. You could argue that the Lawfu wasn't, like, as amazing. I personally quite liked the Lawfu, but they still were releasing regular content that was pretty good really often for the first 3 to 6 months of the game's life cycle. And that did a huge justice to, one, the play-based community, two, player retention, right? Which are the key things you need to keep people long-term invested in the game.
I do kind of like agree with her with that point. Um, I think the way, yeah, the Hawkeye, and here's a Hawkeye Star Rail is kind of like, I think we all agree, it's like the gold standard. Hawkeye Star Rail is like the set, like it's like the pinnacle of, like, when it comes to like patch after patch after patch after patch after patch. It's like banger, 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 banger. Yeah, some people may not like the Law Fu. Some people do like the Law Fu arc. Me personally as well. I did like the Law Fu arc. Right now, that's not saying there were issues in the arc itself, but the overall story and the Law Fu arc was pretty good, right? And they did. It was kind of like a banger, like uh yeah, it was kind of like a banger, like, arguably. So I think Hawkeye Star Rail is like kind of like the gold standard of like what to do, like patch after patch after patch. And listen, some things are probably easier for like games like Hawkeye Star Rail to work because they're turn-based games and they're not like Hawkeye Star Rail feels like it's an open world game, but it's a turn-based game. Once you look up like the game and it shows you the categories that the game is placed in. But for games like Wuthering Waves, and then there's Genshin Impact, like the actual like open world games. I will say, and I'm not saying this is not an excuse. I'm not saying it's like an excuse. There is like different difficulties that I think probably developers do have to face when they're working with an actual open world game. But overall, I do agree with her point that, yeah, I think the purpose is to like keep players and people invested in your game long term by releasing. It don't have to be banger patches. They don't have to be like freaking the freaking pinnacle of like gotcha games when it comes to like events or a story or whatever. It doesn't have to be the pinnacle. It just had to be very. They just have to be very good slash interesting. You know, and that just keeps people attention focused like on your game. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask for a company to do that. But it's like that's the thing. It's like if you don't do it, then it's like not a lot of people are gonna like, gonna be like coming to tune in to like play the game. Like, for example, 1.2 for What in Ways is coming pretty soon. I think it's gonna come. I don't know. I have to check, but I think it's coming pretty soon. It's coming within the week. right? Um, I don't think a lot of people like we're already getting Shang Li Yao for free in the mail, and I get that was like I know like I made my video as well where it's like yeah people should be like happy and like excited like oh my god we got another free star character, but I've already expressed my opinion like on the video already or in that video that I don't think it's gonna like have the type of effect that kind of like Dr. Ratio had in Hawkeye Sorrow, where it's like a lot of people are gonna use this character or build this character. I think 1.2 is just gonna be not a dead patch, but when it comes to like the content, it's like okay, the only thing that's really caught my eye is like the story because I'm interested to know what's going on to happen next because I love like the story in video games, right? Especially the way they tell them, depending on what the game is. But yeah, that's the only thing I'm really looking forward to, and I'm not really looking forward to like the characters. I don't know. I have to check. I don't know if we're getting a new location, but yeah, it's just I think it should be a company's job to like keep the player retention for for like a long time. To get the players to like kind of forget that like these early games exist because they're so happy and they're so invested in this particular game that's like they don't care about the early games now. Genshin Impact has been defaulted to that mostly because there's so many like of these good gacha games that are coming out that have already come out. Like Zenless Zone Zero, Wuthering Waves, Hawkeye Sorrow. You know, it's like Genshin Impact got the boot because well, not just due to the fact of like they have done like little to nothing to like kind of like make the game better to like fix the game and its issues, but it's kind of like who's gonna get the short end of the stick? It's like okay, we got Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero. Alright, Genshin Impact. Bye bye. I'll come back when Snapling comes. So I'll come back for the story.
The way Wuthering Waves is working right now, the way it's paced, we had 1.0 and we had 1.1, and now we're heading into a 1.2 filler patch already after how many months? It's like, it doesn't feel right to me. I'm sorry, but it feels, ugh. It feels, ugh. So it's just,
Yeah, I will say. Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna call like 1.2 for Wuthering Waves. I was looking gonna call it like a dead patch, but I think filler patch is more appropriate. We'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, the only thing I'm looking forward to in 1.2 for Wuthering Waves is just the story. Let's see what's gonna happen next, really.
Genji did add shit until 1.2. Okay, but Genji came out how many years ago now? Genji came out how many years ago? And it was the only, like, big, like, gotcha of its time. Right? Obviously, it was like gacha game, but it was the biggest gotcha of its time. It was testing the waters, but it set the mold to what others should do. And I really feel like now, in this day and age, when we compare ourselves to all these other gacha games that have come out, what is a successful model? What's really good for player retention? What's really good for, how a game should progress? I don't feel like this model is, like, particularly that great. It's just preparation to 2.0. It is a preparation for 2.0, but it just feels, ugh.
Preparation for it's just a preparation for 2.0. I don't know, man. I don't buy it. Listen, again, I get that it's like, well, they're just building up the story. They're building up the art. They're building up the game, man. Give them time. Man. It's like, listen, there's so much like time that I have to be invested in for a particular like game. Where it's like, if you're just gonna give me a filler patch after filler patch, dead patch after dead patch, I'm just gonna like stop like having to worry about like logging into the game that day. It's gonna just result in like me personally. It's just gonna result in me not kind of like not logging into the game at all. I'm just gonna be like focused on like playing either early games or I'm probably gonna be busy doing like work or all this other stuff. I'm not gonna be focused. There's not that game's not gonna come to my mind. Like it's gonna reach to a point where the game won't come into my mind or I won't even think about it until it's like oh wait 1.8 or 2.0 is about to come out for this game. I better start prepping, and then that's my kind of like my first time logging into the game for like a while, right? So the whole is it's just preparation for 2.0. I don't like that excuse. I really don't. You could definitely do something in between freaking 1 point, let's just say like 1.2 to 2.0. You could put in some freaking arcs and some story to like build up characters that were going to be introduced to a 2.0, and maybe potentially like other get ready to be introduced to a whole new world in 2.0 and a whole new map, like you could do that, build up the next region. But it's like I feel like you could literally there's some things that you can do between 1.2 and 2.0 besides putting just filler patches and just like random goofy Mickey Mouse events just for us to do. Like I feel like there's so much more you could do, right? Because I will say the events so far, Wuthering Waves, not that good. Yeah, I'm not gonna not that good. We got freaking supposedly parkour, but it was kind of like straightforward, super easy freaking event challenge. And we also got spin the hamster wheel and you get the reward. That was our events that I can recall right now. I forgot if there was probably other events. Besides, we're not talking about like I'm not talking about like core cleansing, right? Where you get like double the rewards. That doesn't count as like an event. They're gonna implement that probably every I don't know, probably every I would say almost like every patch that might comes out, that core cleansing is gonna be either it's gonna be like one of the events that's gonna be like a part of the patch. But it's not like a limited time like event, right? It's something that we're expecting to like come. But yeah, it's like yeah, we got hamster wheel and quote unquote parkour simulator, which wasn't really parkour. So it's just like they could do much better with the events and Wuthering Ways, in my opinion.
It just feels bleh. Like I feel like I haven't reached like a conclusion with it. That's probably just me though. Like it is probably more of a me thing, but I feel kind of like there's an itch to scratch with Woo that hasn't been kind of met. And it's just I feel like, the peak we had the peak of the story with 1.1, but it didn't feel like the build up I was expecting. It doesn't feel like this big I don't know. I can't explain what it is. No, I do agree with Cap's take. Yeah, I agree with the itch. It felt like it left something that should have been there that just kind of wasn't solved for me. Do you know what I mean? Like with Honkai Star Rail, we had all of Belobog to do, right? Just like 1.0 with Wuthering Waves, we had all the Belobog stuff to do. Then it was straight to the Lawfu, where it was like 2 patches of like content and story to get through, which I found pretty interesting. And Wuthering Waves, we had 1.1 patch, where the first half of the story was kind of fucking dog shit, and then it got really good halfway through and we got Jujue.
True.
But it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it's just like it didn't feel right. And now we have to wait, and then 1.2 is going to be filler, and then it's going to be 2.0. Like the pacing just doesn't feel right to me. Like you can disagree and say that's a personal preference thing. That's totally fucking fine.
Wait, so hold on, hold on. I'm confused. Wait, because she said yeah, 1.1 first half of 1.1 story was like garbage. Then it kind of like redeemed itself in the second half a bit, and now we're about 1.2, which is basically going to be a filler patch. And then two. Wait, we're about to jump to 2.0. Wait, we're going from 1.2 to 2.0. Is that what she just? Hold on. Is that why I heard correctly? Hold on. Rewind that back. Did I hear that correctly? Did I?
Wait, and then 1.2 is going to be filler, and then it's going to be 2.0. Like the pacing just
And then 1.2 is going to be further, and then it's going to be 2.0. Huh? I need to look this up. I'll look it up later, and I'll probably mention it in another video once it's released. But wait, we're going from one. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'll talk more about that in a later video. But what? 1.2 to 2.0. Okay, let's just move on.
doesn't feel right to me.
Let's move on.
Like you can disagree and say that's a personal preference thing. That's totally fucking fine. Like I don't. That's fine. I'm just coming from my point of view. Like Wuthering Waves, just I don't feel that like oh I'm so excited to see what's next. I'll be real. I don't really care that much about the Fraxidus.
Yeah, I was about to say yeah, same. Honestly, to the Fracidus thing as well, it's like Loki. Yeah, only thing I care about the Fracidus is just Scar. Like I'm just seeing her waiting. Like okay, when Scar is gonna bust out of prison? I'm waiting for this guy to freaking bail. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that to happen. That's supposed to come, right? Is Scar not supposed to like? Just supposed to be like a prison break or something? Like I don't know, man. Um, but yeah, it's like yeah, I don't. I understand where she's coming from because there really isn't nothing that I could recall to be excited for for I'm trying to think for Wuthering Waves. There's nothing really exciting right now to look forward to. I guess in terms of like future banner down the line, I guess I'm me personally. I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks this way. I'm most looking forward to Camilla's story, her companion story, if there is going to be one, and like her banner, her character. But other than that, it's like I don't know, man. What else am I supposed to look forward to? I don't know. I don't know what freaking other ways is going to or offering me. I don't know. I can't get excited. There's nothing to be excited about. So I do understand where she's coming from. And also the fastest is like, yeah, honestly, the fastest low key. They kind of looking mid right now. What the hell are they doing? It's like we got that last pan. Here's one things I do remember from the 1.2 story for not 1.2 second half of 1.1 for Wuthering Waves story, that we do get the last camera pan of the fastest chick who has like bandages over her one eye, the green hair chick, the one who could raise the freaking tacit discourse, I guess, from the dead or just summons them, right? Like she's kind of like a sorcerer or sorceress, like or enchantress. Like she just summons them, and I forgot exactly what she said, but something along the lines of like I don't know, all's according to plan, something like that, man. But yeah, that's the only that's the only thing like Refreshers related in the latest story for Wuthering Ways that I recall that was mentioned. Just main story. We're not talking about like because the companion story for Shang Li, even in that story, yeah, the Francis were involved, but that was just like with stuff that was already going on in the second half of the 1.1 story for Wuthering Waves. So yeah, the Francis is looking kind of mid. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
They're supposed to be this whatever the group of people, but we don't really get much on them. We've been kind of drip fed information that is so like little and few and far between that I don't really care that much at this point. It's so like this setup and the suspense for 2.0 just isn't there for me. The as usual the end of patches, yep. And also, I didn't like at the end of 1.1, the big lore dumps for everything coming up was just a text pick your response answer conversation with Jue. Like, I didn't think that's good writing. Like, having all the exposition right at the very end when we talk to the big dragon. Like, I don't think that's good storytelling. And it just didn't get me excited.
I do, cause that's actually been a thing that Genshin Impact has always done. Like at the end of a freaking quest, it dates all the way back to freaking 1.0. Or yeah, all dates all the way back to Mondstadt, where after you're done with Mondstadt region, you're done with the story in Mondstadt, you just go to excuse me, you just at the end of it, you talk to Venti, and then it's like Venti, and then you ask questions, and it's just like a bunch of questions, which each question leads to like a bunch of dialogue about whatever the question entails. Like usually the question is like, have you seen my question always asks, have you seen my sister, have you seen my sibling, depend, yeah, have you seen my sibling, what do we expect, what's the next region like, they did the same thing for Leeway with Zhang Li. It's like, what do we expect in the next region? Have you seen my sibling? Will you help, do you know anything about my sibling? And it's usually kind of like repetitive, like same stuff. Besides the fact of, besides the, them, you the player asking like what's the next region, right? That's kind of like really the main difference. And then but then Sumeru, there was a little twist on it where one of the questions were, because it's about the descenders and Genshin Impact and like who they are. There is like that twist like Nahia and Sumeru after you're done with the Sumeru arc in Genshin Impact. But other than that, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like repetitive stuff. Where it's like what to expand in our region, what are the people like, what's the archon in the next region that we're going to, like, those kind of like repetitive questions that we usually ask in Genshin Impact. So yeah, the whole list of dialogue options of like questions and just like all that expedition, it's like, yeah, that's because at that point it's like I do want to like know about the story, but it's like I have to sit here for like 10-15 minutes just in one spot just listening to the same like character like talking, like it's like, and the information they're giving me is like a lie, so I have to like recount like, okay, what exactly did she say about this particular question, what am I looking forward to. It's just it's a lot. In my opinion, it's just like it's just like a wall of text where it's just like you have to sit there and listen. If you're interested in the story, because if not, you could just click okay, no questions, and not listen.
It's like I feel that stuff should be told to you in certain ways and given suspense. You don't give me any suspense when I'm just sitting there pressing buttons in a back and forth conversation.
True.
1.2 is not going to be the patch people think it is. And if it's going to be a filler patch, it's going to be like another month long. Oh my god. Like it's going to be like 2 months of not really that much happening with this game. That's terrible for the first 6 months of player attention for this game.
I agree with that a lot. If dude, 1.1 second half, second half of 1. Oh no, not second half of 1.1. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of a freaking a lot of patches right now. 1.1 for Zone Zone Zero is gonna be. It looks really interesting. Like we're about to get. It's about to be pubs. It's the pub sec, which is Zuyan, Seth, Xing Yi, and the rest of the force versus the freaking Mountain Lion gang, Jane Doe, who's a part of the Mountain Lion gang. It looks like there's gonna be some drama. There's some beef going on that I don't know. It looks like from based off the trailer Seth has with Jane. I don't know. Something's about to go down, but it looks like freaking. But not just with like the story for Zenzo Zero, but the character banner as well. Like Qin Yi, a stun type character. That's a character that I'm sure a lot of people were weighing on when she was gonna get released, and now she's coming in first half, and then Jane Doe is like she's coming in second half. So there's that. I think it's like that's the thing. It's like Wuthering Waves has to be because again, Wuthering Waves, Zenzo Zero, they're like the two games and developers compete against each other, and so far. It's so far. I gotta say, I listen. Wuthering Waves has given us a lot of stuff, but I don't know. I just me personally, this is just a personal opinion. I think I've Loki had a bit more fun at Zone Zero than Wuthering Waves. I have now again. There are certain aspects that Wuthering Waves is better than Zone Zero, and the same could be said for Zone Zero, where there are certain aspects better than Wuthering Waves, right? But I don't know. I just have been having a bit more fun. Not just recently, but just overall more fun with Zone Zero than with Wuthering Waves. And love to know what you guys think, but just let me know how you guys feel about it.
That's the kind of thing. Like it's not good. People were really excited at the beginning, but now their pacing is just all over the place. It's crazy. You think people are willing to wait? People will wait and they'll probably play it when it comes out. But the problem is, MJ, right? The problem is some people will probably be like, I don't care anymore. It's been far too long. I don't care to do it. So they won't do it immediately. We will see a stark rise in people who won't like immediately log into a patch day one. They'll probably come like a week or so after the patch has been out, and then they'll play, right? And then they'll come back and play when they see people say it's good or bad. If people say it's bad, they're not going to come back and play. So we're going to see, I predict that we're going to see the day one numbers for the 1.2 patch aren't going to be that high. That's what I.
And I believe, and I think she, and I kind of like said this. I did said this before already, but I do believe her. I don't think the numbers are gonna be so like good that and great that people are thinking that it's going to be. Like it's like I said, it's like bro, we're already getting the Yao character, the male guy character for free already. So it's like there's no point of putting on his banner, and then Zed She is like, I guess if you're just like either a waifu collector or you just want to collect all the characters in the game and you're just a whale. I mean, yeah, sure. I can see, people doing that, but it's like there's not gonna be that much. There's gonna be not that much trend going on for 1.2 Wuthering Waves. I don't think. Like yes, people will come out with their videos initially. Like yeah, some people will come out initially. Like as soon as 1.2 patch drops, and then like for the next like few couple of days, it's like it dies down completely. But in terms of banner sales, I said this already. The banner sales aren't gonna do good, in my opinion. For Wuthering Waves 1.2, they're not gonna do good. I don't think they're gonna do good. And I think and yes, I do think already there's already issues with like Wuthering Waves, and we're not getting like an accurate revenue count for what they're earning. for like the past couple of months because something wrong with like the I don't know, there's something wrong with like the calculations. There's something wrong with the system. Hopefully the next time the revenue chart comes out, that is the problems fits. But yeah, right now I don't think in terms of like banner sales they're gonna do well for 1.2 at all. And I think in terms of like the content for 1.2, again I have to see. I think I already went over the 1.2 patch notes. It looks like they're gonna be a couple of things, but oh man, it's I don't know, man. I just don't know what direction Wuthering Waves is going to go. It's kind of weird.
I feel. That's what I feel. Or when it releases and they realize, oh, it literally is just a filler patch, people aren't just going to be playing it after the couple days. And we're just not going to see it. People are going to start complaining. And what they shorten 1.2 by a week, I don't think that makes a fucking difference. I think shortening the patch by week doesn't make a fucking difference. If the 1.2 patch kind of flops, people are going to be like, yeah, I've already waited a month. This is kind of a flop as well. I'm not going to
Why they shortened the release of Yin Lin? We know why they shortened the release of Yin Lin and that whole patch. It's because Zen Zone Zero was planning on, or hold on, was it the release of the? Actually, yeah. It was Yinlin's. Yeah, it was Yinlin's banner and her like that whole patch. Why she got released early was because it was Zenzo Zero was was being released kind of like around the same week, like literally the same week as the Yinlin patch. So Winter Ways did a week early to get a step ahead of Zenzo Zero. Now despite all that, Zenzo Zero still did pretty good numbers, but still, that's why they shortened the week for that to get the step ahead of Zone Zero. But why would they do it for 1.2? I don't think it would make sense to me. Like shortening it for 1.2 by a week does what exactly? Okay, so I could get through the content earlier or quicker than usually. I could get through a filler patch quicker than I needed to by like a week, and I could just chill and play like some freaking Wuthering Waves or Hawkeye Star Rail and like other games. Oh, not Wuthering Waves. I'm sorry, Zone Zero and Hawkeye Star Rail and like other like games during while I'm waiting for I guess 2.0 to come out for Wuthering Waves. Like I don't get what would be the I don't understand like the like shortening the week of a filler patch and releasing it early. I don't see the reasoning behind that. Unless there's some gigabrain moves happening behind the scenes, but I see no reason why they would do that.
plays either. Then you've got 2 months, basically, of a game that's basically just come out a few months ago, right? And 2 of those months people don't give a crap about. That's so bad for long-term player care and attention and retention for a game. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if they shorten it by a week. You have to grab that player base at the start because they're going to be the core ones who will spread the game by word of mouth, right? You need a core platform of audience to like tell you how good the game is. And also, people can't make content about a game when it's either filler patches or not that much going on for months on end. People aren't going to be making content of your game. Heck, people aren't going to be playing your game. Making content of these games is one of the best marketing tools for them. Like, what do they expect people to do? It's crazy. Like, think with Hawkeye Star Rail when that came out. There was so much content for months about that game for the first 6 months. For Woo Warrior, it's like trickled down to basically almost nothing in the first like 2-3 months. Like, it's just insane.
Have content in the middle between 1.2 leading up to 2.0. You can have something happen in between like 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6. You have these 4 patches build up to with like having some fun events while also in those same patches with those like fun events that I mentioned. Um, each patch has a story building up and leading up to what is going to be the big mega update for 2.0 for Wuthering Waves. There are yes, these are things that they can do, right? So and it's like, listen, they're competing with ZZZ right now, and I think ZZZ is going to do. We saw the freaking, or at least I saw the revenue charts. I didn't make a video on it. The next revenue chart I will though. I'll make a video on it. Um, ZZZ is freaking killing it right now. Now, part of that because it's like it's the same player base yeah, it would surprise me that like some of the same player base or a good chunk of the player base that has been playing Hawkeye Star Wars and Genshin Impact are the same players who are going over to Zen Zone Zero, and like they're like a part of that about they are part of that revenue chart. That's possible, and so part of the reason that some people think is because these are just the same players who've been playing Genshin Impact and Hawkeye Star Wars. They've came over to play Zen Zone Zero, and that's why Zen Zone Zero's revenue, like their revenue, has increased so high. Now, I think it was probably if that is a factor, but I don't think that's the main reason why Zen Zone Zero. That's not like the main reason why Zen Zone Zero got so much revenue for the month of August. So I honestly think, or is it July? No, I think it's August. But anyways, we're gonna find out if it's a tour. But I do believe that Zone Zero is making great revenue and it's standing. I believe it is standing on its own 2 feet and is doing its thing. And I also believe, especially now with 1.1, you see the characters are about to be announced. We saw the characters that got announced for 1.1 for Zone Zero. Dude, they're gonna do super well with the revenue charts. Like, bro, Jane Doe, bro, she, hey, hey, let me tell you, there's gonna be a lot of people pointing out her banner. There's gonna be a lot of people pointing out her banner, and of course Chingy because of the for part of it is like Mel, but also some people just like her character because she's socially awkward and just like doesn't know how to communicate well with people. But yeah, it's just like what ways it's like yeah, in what ways is competing with Zone Zero, and it's like right now, I mean prediction, Zone Zero is gonna do better than Wuthering Waves is gonna do. Like Zone Zero 1.1 is gonna do way better than 1.2 Wuthering Waves. That's not a hot take. I think that's just what's gonna happen. And then you have freaking members of each community going at each other's throats, freaking yelling, saying my game's better, no my game's better. You're a doo doo, you stinky poo poo head, that type of stuff.
Oh my god. Yeah, my main gripes with Woowa is they could do so many more interesting things with what they have. They seem to not use it all. Exactly. Where are the interesting events? Hello? Like this is what like you could add so many.
We got the interview. We talking about Captain. We got freaking hamster wheel. You don't like hamster wheel? You don't like the spinny little hamster that you get to use the coin and then you spin and you get the reward? Thrilling gameplay. What are you talking about? That's crazy.
Things. Like 1.1, it's been such a long patch, and there's been absolutely nothing to do. The game doesn't give you anything to care about. It doesn't give you anything to care about. It really does feel like they released the game without all the things they wanted to do in place, right? To kind of compete with everyone else, because they knew all these new gadgets were coming out. Zenless Zone Zero, Neverness to Everness, Project Mugen, all this Azure Premilia, all these they wanted to be out there quicker. So it really does feel like, damn, let's just get it out. We haven't got away.
But there's like evidence that like yeah it does like some of the things in Weather Waves do feel like a bit rushed or have been rushed, right? Like we've already talked about it, like the voice acting from the beginning of the game, kind of like the pacing of like the story. Like we've those are like a couple like elements where it's like yeah they've definitely rushed in these parts of the game. Just saying.
More events ready, but screw it, let's do it. That's why the first event when this game released, like the jumping puzzle stuff, people like complained about.
Now, but I will say it's like yeah they're listening. So I assume hopefully if they're listening to this video or Cabinet's video or all the other people who are playing the game, I hope they're listening to the feedback and understanding like what we're saying, right? We're saying like, especially if it's true, if it's like they're gonna do 1.2, it's gonna be essentially a filler patch, and then we're just gonna jump to 2.0. What we're saying is you can have 1.2, and it's like, no, actually no, 1.2 should not be a filler patch. There should be something interesting going on. There should be something, right? Like there should be something. Like talk about the Frassides. What are they up to? Maybe there's another character. There's like another character that we could like uh tease that you could tease us with. Like yeah, tease us with, and that could get us interested in knowing the character a bit more. I just think that yeah, man, it's just it does. It like there's like a couple of points where it does lead to you thinking, did they really rush this game just to get out quick and early because they know the other games are coming up soon, or not just other games? Is it just because of ZZZ? Because I mean, ZZZ is the direct competitor of Wuthering Waves. So I mean, we're about to find out. I mean, it won't be long. We'll see what happens in the next couple of months. Things are about to get really interesting, and I'm all here for it.
Was ass. And no one gave a crap about it. This is a dog tier. This is worse than Genshin events. You know what I mean? Like crazy.
Oh yeah, also the puzzles, fucking, they're too easy. Like, core games make these puzzles hard, or implement new puzzles that are freaking hard. Make the puzzles hard. They're so easy. It's too easy.
Victory will be ours.
My other main issue with War is resource management as well. Yeah, let's not talk about like Echo XP. Let's not talk about Echo XP or anything like that, because we all know it's just terrible. Maybe just me, but as a random guy with a full-time job, I don't mind logging in for 5 minutes a day until they eventually release some stuff. I'll be real, that's fine. If you don't mind logging in 5 minutes a day, that's fine. I do. I'm a super casual, guys. But you all know this. I am what they call a gacha tourist. I will play a game when it's interesting. And there's a reason why I've barely logged on to Wuthering Waves since the 1.1 patch dropped. I did the main story, I did some stuff for the event, and then I just did not care. I didn't feel inspired to come play again and grind and prepare for the next patches. Because I'll be real, I didn't find the suspense or excitement enough to want to grind. If I get excited for the upcoming patches and I'm like, oh, that seems really interesting, I'm going to be playing the game more so I get prepared. I don't feel like getting ready to get prepared for 1.2. I don't give a fuck. While you're also a content creator, you should demand more. What do you mean by that? I just log into my days and log out. Usually depends if there's nothing to do. There was still a profit even though it was small, they were still...
So I think, yeah, what that person was saying was that you should demand more because you're a content creator. I mean, yeah, sure, content creators, yeah, it's their job. Yeah. Their job to make videos on like a particular the game that they're playing or that they're interested in. But it's like it's also a content creator's job to find other ways to make content for their video or for their channel, right? It doesn't your content doesn't see, and that's the thing. Tying your entire channel and your reputation around one particular game will screw you up, because if you leave that game in its space and try something new, you're gonna see that you're gonna have like less viewers or less, followers for like a stream when you're playing a different game, and you're gonna be thinking, oh man, I'm losing all these people don't want to watch me play this game. I better stick with this one game that I'm always playing, and so I can keep the same people there, even though I'll get bored eventually, and it'll probably be there will be dead patches. I still need to play the game so I can keep my viewers happy, so I can have like a lot of viewers when I'm streaming. Like, that stuff will screw you over, because there will come a point where you do want to play a different game, and you have to play it for yourself. I get it. Like, I get it. You do, part of your job is to entertain, but at the same time, it's like you gotta think about yourself as well. Like, do you really want to subject yourself to playing the same game and like only worrying about playing that game because it's the one that gives you the most views or the most likes or the most live followers when you're streaming? It's not worth it. It's just not. That's why when so many people, they try to leave Genshin Impact, and they see that follower viewer count drop, some of them panic and immediately go back. It's because they're too afraid to think that they won't be relevant. And it's like, listen, the ones that will stay with you, regardless of what game you played, that's your real fan base. Those are your real followers. Those are your real viewers. Those are the real those are the real ones who want to watch you because of you. Alright?
Profit. Having small profit doesn't really mean that much. They still might be using money to develop other games, other resources, or other systems. So you can't truly know if they're in profit or not. They only rushed it because EZ was coming out in 15 days. Yep. Probably. I don't think it was 15 days, but yeah, probably. Oh, maybe it was actually, wasn't it? Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's just kind of wild, you know what I mean? And that's kind of my thoughts and state of Wuthering Waves. And I find it's like, guys, listen, I don't hate Wuthering Waves. I think gacha games have loads of content. Yeah, true, gacha has no fucking content together. Like, you do the new patches, give your opinion pieces, you talk about characters. Unless you're a guide maker, there's nothing to fucking do in these games. Like, there really is nothing to do in these games. You have to kind of force content out of it. and that's fine. I don't really care. Like, do whatever, talk about it. People like to hear your opinions of games. And like systems and cool things and your rotations or whatever, but unless you're a guide maker, there's not that much content to make. Either that or just drama content. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like Wuthering Waves. I do prefer its system to Genshin in some way.
But I really like being waves. What are these subtitles, YouTube? Uh, yeah, no, no. Again, completely, again, like agree with her. I, I don't dislike Wuthering Waves. It's just it's like again there are some issues like in terms of like the system and like they are like fixing like the events and some of it is like part of it is like gameplay when it comes to like a couple of puzzles they are listening to to these type of things and they're fixing them, they're fixing these issues. But what about the content itself? Like what about what's within the patch, you know? It's like what about these events, are you gonna make better events? uh, like there's like at some point it's like okay what is like I feel like it should already be like this, but again, it should be like, okay, what have you done for me lately? Like, what have you done for me lately that you were you should or you deserve to have my player retention?
Ways, right? But it's also, I'm just starting to not care. And if 1.2 doesn't perk my interest, which I doubt it will, because it really does feel like it's going to be a filler patch. I'm really struggling to see my motivation to want to keep playing until like 2.0, which we have no idea when we'll drop either. Like we have no idea what. But I really just felt that I just aren't on the ball. Guys, I'm not hating. This isn't me being you're hating on Kurobi or Hoyo Shell. You'll know how I think about all Hoyo games. You'll know how I think about gacha games in general. I think a lot of them have ass things about them, but this one genuinely does concern me because it's a brand new release. It's a brand new release. And it's I feel like they're just not catering to the core player base.
And that's the thing that people gotta remember. Just because we are criticizing a freaking game does not mean we are a shill for the other games. Does not mean that we hate the game, that we think the community is terrible. Although that could be like an argument argument for a couple other games, but like we think the whole like we think the story's bad, the characters are bad, everything's awful about the game. No, these are valid criticisms that I'm sure a lot of people have, and we are addressing them, and we're just speaking it out, and even offering solutions as to how these issues should be fixed, so that the game could be better, and so that the retention rate for the players, for the player base, for that game stays high, like the percentage is it stays at a above average rate, right? Us showing our concerns for this game, for the game that we're playing, is just us wanting for the game to be better so that we could get the full potential of that game. This is not hating. This is just us content creators and probably people who think similar to us about what we're saying. People who just wants the game to be better. Because yes, this game recently just released. It has not been long, right? It released May 22nd. Hold on. So June, July. You know, we're it's uh, 2 and like a couple weeks, but really 2 months, right? It's been essentially 2 months since this game has been released, and nothing like again like yeah there are still like yeah there have been a couple of highlights, but when it comes to some of the content in the game, it just has not been exciting. And now 1.2, it looks like, and I predict as well, it's going to be like a filler patch. And then we're jumping straight to 2.0. If 1.2 is going to be a filler patch, that's 3 months now of just nothing going on in Wuthering Waves. It's a problem, and I think this is the best way to like how address this issue so that we tell it to our community, to the masses, and so for people who do want the game to be better, they hopefully they understand this is to help make the game better. We don't want a bad product. We don't want it to be freaking Genshin Impact, all right? Or it's just dead patch after dead patch after dead patch after dead patch. Nothing interesting happening. It's like the only thing you're probably gonna come back for is to roll for a character, but Genshin Impact has reached to a point where it's like you don't really need to roll for any character unless it's a character you really like and you want them for personal preference or for personal reasons. But it's kind of resort to that, and also it's kind of resort to like, yeah, story. I'm coming back because can't wait to play the story and see what's going on in the story. But that's it. And for Wuthering Waves is supposed to be. It's not just a comparative with Zero, but Wuthering Waves is also supposed to be, kind of like a strong, competitor, and like, you know, it's supposed to be a game that sends a strong message to Genshin Impact, letting them know, hey, we're doing what you're doing, but we're doing it better than you, and and our players are having more fun, and that has been the case so far. But recently, very part of like the past month or so, it's been meh, you know. So that's just the thing. We're just voicing our concerns to say, to let you guys know, we know the game is in kind of a not so good or like bad state. We just want this game to be good. Is that so hard to ask, or is that too much to ask? According to the people on Twitter, yes, that is too much to ask.
Which is the fundamental thing you should be doing. Do you have any idea how much it costs to develop a game? Genshin cost over 100 mil. It's alright, you criticize the things that you love. That's to show how much you care about something. Yeah, but you criticize any game, people are gonna be like, oh, you're just doing this because you hate blah blah blah. I criticized the Chang Li trailer and my whole comments were like, oh, you hate Kuro, you're a Hoyo shell. It's like, nah, the trailer for Chang Li was just fucking ass. The vision.
See, listen, I'll admit, I was wearing Chang Li, tinted glasses. Alright, I was too distracted by her booba. Anyways.
Visuals were asked, oh, but you didn't care about the story. I'm sorry, the story bit in the trailer was all the things we knew to begin with. Like, oh my god, it was so annoying. Like, holy shit. But people being like, I'm sorry, your opinion is just, like, incorrect. Like, fuck you. Like, who are you? It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Actually, you're wrong. Chang Li's trailer was the best thing to ever exist. Ooh. Oh yeah. Listen, I speak for a lot of us when I say we don't care. we don't care what y'all have to say. If it's a valid criticism, we'll listen. We're open to listening, of course. But it's like, well, actually, yeah, you're wrong. It was actually the best trailer ever. And it's like, oh god, every trailer you watch is a freaking 10 out of 10. Everything's a 10 out of 10 these days, man. Everything.
Like, I'm so sorry for having an opinion. And that's why I get concerned to make opinion pieces and upload them. Because people are going to, like, just point fingers and be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. 1.2 trailer was so ass too. I agree. It was not good.
Okay, real quick. I have not seen 1.2 trailer for Wuthering Waves. I'll react to that. Right after this video, I'll react to it. That's going to be a separate video on its own. Well, because I've actually been hearing that, like, yeah, 1.2 trailer is kind of like mid or like it's bad. I've been hearing that. I've also heard recently that Mr. Pokey got criticized because he overhyped it. Mr. Pokey overhyped freaking 1.2 trailer so much that his own comment section was like, bro, what the are you doing? Why are you freaking hyping up this garbage ass trailer? So I gotta see what this trailer looks like, man. Is it really as bad as people were saying that it is? Because, oh man.
I didn't care at all. But guess what? Because it's a filler patch. 1.2 is a filler patch. It's so insane to me, man. I don't really like Jessie. I don't even like something about Jessie that I just don't like. And I should like her because I'm an artist. I should like her, but I don't. I just hope they don't become ignorant like Halo did. They went from the best game in the world to unpopular game that nobody knows. Currently, Genshin's heading in that direction if they don't listen to the players actively. Yeah, well, Genshin's been on its fucking break since Lost Patch of Fontaine, right? Like, we all know that.
Yeah, it's like Genshin has already been. It's like that's the thing with Genshin. It's like, yeah, Genshin has already been like that for like a while now with its issues and stuff. But yeah, like I said, it's with 3. It's like really, it's like, yeah, 3.0, 3.1, and I'll really not 3.2, but I'll give you 3.2. It's like, okay, yeah, what has Genshin done in 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8? It's like, not much has happened. Not much has happened. Not much. Now, they recently came with like the Archon quest of, I haven't played that yet. I'm still catching up on some of the stuff, on like some of the like the character, on just the character story quest. I, I'm I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I've been playing Genshin. I know I admit it. I've committed a terrible thing. I committed such a grievous action. Please forgive me. But I've been playing Genshin for the past couple of days, just to catch up. Not really interested in the story of the day. Just to like get all the quests and all the stuff out of the way real quick. And, I let me tell you, it's like it is such a drastic change from not just between Wuthering Waves and Genshin, but just like with Zenless Zone Zero and freaking Genshin, like all these other games, you know. And it's like, oh my, and I literally said to myself, oh my god, it feels so weird playing this game again, right? Also, every time I character dialogue, I'm pressing S, 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 S. I just have to spell the freaking S button. There's no skip dialogue, but sorry. But anyways, yeah, Genshin has already kind of like been like that for like 3.3, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, and now 3.8. Um, but yeah,
Like, Edge is only relevant in their main patches. And that land's coming soon. Relatively soon, right? That land's coming soon, so that's gonna be interesting. I will be playing that land, so I'm interested.
yeah, now that's gonna be
So I'll be
coming like in
interested.
14,
But yeah,
15
but
days,
like
probably.
Genshin has better pacing with their patch releases than Woower is having. Can I be so real? It's crazy. And don't say like,
Ooh, that's some people ain't gonna like that. Hey, some people ain't gonna like that. But I do agree. Okay, as far as recently, like yeah, we're talking about like currently right now, right? I mean, I would say both are just kind of like meh. Like in terms of like patches, like yeah, both are just like not good, not too good, my friend. Now with Zone Zero, Wondering Ways, it's like oh yeah, you gotta give it to Zone Zero. Like I'm so like actually like objectively, you have to give it to Zone Zero. Like as we're talking about right now, but yeah, I think so far for Genshin and Wondering Ways, it's for me, my opinion, both not so good right now. Like both bad, both in bad, kind of like bad state.
oh, Genshin had it worse in the beginning. Yeah, that was fucking years ago, and we have a new standard model we adhere to that we've deemed to be good.
True.
People comparing it to Genshin like 5 fucking years ago is crazy to me. Like that's just not how you should compare things, because you talk about what you talk about what your competitors do in the current time. And right now the best model to follow is Honkai Star Rail, because they did that right. People were on Honkai Star Rail for months talking about it, content non-stop.
And that was previously before Hawkeye Star Rail was even released, multiple months, probably weeks, of people trashing on it and say that it's going to do terrible and that nothing good was going to come out of that game. And now it's the fucking gold standard of freaking. In some aspects, it's the gold standard of how you do gacha games, man.
They released events all the time. They had cool endgame content that they were releasing constantly for the first 6 months. Like, it was good. What they did was good. And just Woo isn't doing any of that. They're not doing any of that. They had time because PGL was still bringing in money. Hello, interesting time to come into stream. I agree with you statements on Bua. I'm just thinking, imagine we had raid mechanics or something like that. At least now. Exactly, and there's just nothing. It feels like I'll be sure.
Dude, a freaking Ray and Wuthering Waves would low key go hard. I'm like no joke, no joke, no joke. A raid and Wuthering Waves would low key go hard. Can you imagine just joining up with like your friends and then you like there's this one. I mean, we got like the bosses in the game. It could be just like a randomized like boss that's already in the game. We just go in there and we just freaking you just go to town and you just fight fight the boss. Of course, be in a certain time limit, of course, and then it's like you get the rewards, or you have to do like multiple dungeons to reach the final boss. That actually would go crazy. Actually, not gonna lie. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Like, this is gonna sound so mean. It feels like an empty shell of a game. It has all the makings to be such a good, gripping game, both story and gameplay, because I like the gameplay. But I'm just not feeling inspired to play. I'm really not. And I'm a super casual gacha tourist, and I'm so aware of that. But people like me are important to this game. People like me are important to this game, because if you could hook a casual player like me, that's a really good sign of a game. Honkai Star, I'm glazing it. I know I'm glazing it a little bit, but Honkai Star did that for me. I love the little offshoot stuff. I love the little offshoot stuff, and it kept me engaged. And that was one of the first gachas that I actively played and logged into every single day. Every single day. I care, because do you know why? Do you know why? I'm a sort of person that cares about characters and story a lot. More than like other things with the game. That's why I'm a Love and Deep Space player, right? I love getting into the grips with the characters. Honkai did that very well for me. These games are not hitting that itch for me at all. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm not like engaging with it as much. Genshin does it better than Wuthering Waves in terms of like caring about the characters. At least in my.
So I can understand. Yeah, I can understand that point that she's coming from. It's like, yeah, it's like, and I'm in a similar boat with her as well. When it comes to like not just gotcha games, but when it comes to just video games in general, bro. If it's like a game where it has like good characters, like as like great, like good to great character development, and like the story, keeps me interested, then yeah, I'm a casual player myself, right? I play multiple like gotcha games and multiple like games in general, like video games in general. It's like for you to be able to do that, like you'll get me hooked. That's how you'll get me. It's like if the characters you have really good to great characters, a freaking consistent, awesome story, um, character development, like those type of things, man. That'll keep me invested. That'll keep me hooked as well, right? It'll keep me wanting to know more, like what's gonna happen next to this particular character, especially once you do like a after they doing like a companion quest for like for like this a character for like each patch, you get to know more about that character and what their life is like, and you kind of like get like a deeper understanding of why that character is what it is, if done correctly, right? If done correctly. So that's for me as well. But for some people, it's like they don't really care about the characters or story. They just care about gameplay, right? And that's not saying that's like a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to just care about character and story, or to just say you just care about gameplay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But you have to admit that yes, even if you are just playing for the gameplay, you can't ignore the issues that there is with the game's events, the game's story, the characters, maybe character designs. Like there are just some things where you just like, even if you're just playing the game for one reason, it's like, well, eventually it's gonna get like repetitive and boring, and it's like the one reason why you were staying with that game is it's gonna like leave you thinking that there could have been something more that this game could have offered, but it did.
My opinion. And the stories behind them. Just give Rachel something to do a freaking co-op. Yeah, that would be so cool. Like, imagine having a big ass boss you have to take down together with like 4 people.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be so cool. That would actually be so cool. Oh my god. Or like a team of 3. Or a team of 3 or something like that you could recruit people for. Oh my god, that'd be so sick. Like domains like Genshin where you could team with other people, but it's actually hard.
Yeah.
But it's actually a big team battle. Yeah, don't make it like an MMO. But like a team battle, a 3-person team battle, because we all know the gacha players don't have friends to play games with. So anything more than like 2 other friends is gonna be hard for you to like come by. So we'll.
Yeah. So yeah, you got like it's like okay, it's like you got your person who's playing Yinlin. You got your like I said, a team of 4, 3 or 4. But let's just go with 3, right? You have your Yinlin player. You have your Cheng Li player, and you got your brainless Jian player. It's like there you go. Get trios. Run the pockets of that freaking monkey. Just fight the monkey. Go ahead, right? And you just do the raid, and then you get the rewards. Or have it where it's like it's multiple dungeons, and as a team, you have to fight through these dungeons, and then at the last stage or domain of the dungeon, you fight the last boss. Something like that. That would go hard. It would.
We'll stick to 3. We'll stick to 3 people. You know what I mean? 1.3 is probably where most of the hype is going to go with Black Shore, Shorekeeper, Camellia, and Scar for Lova. Yeah, true. I agree. But guess what? That's going to be ages away.
Okay, yeah, okay, so they're not doing like 1.2 scale or 2.0. I thought, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know. People think I was stupid for saying that, but I don't know. It was kind of like the way she phrased it. It was the way she phrased it. Where I thought it was like, wait, you're telling me they're gonna do 1.2 and then just jump straight to 2.0 like that? What about 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6? What about these? What about these? But okay, so they are gonna do. Okay, I was worried for a second. I was gonna be like, what the heck kind of pacing is that? But okay, yeah, so they are gonna do 1.3, 1.4 like those patches. Okay, cool.
That's gonna be so long away. Like, how can you have a game that's just released and take so long to do anything interesting? Please. Oh my god. Even if you flop overload upgrading echoes and those, yeah, don't focus on Echo XP, man. It's so dumb. More fun events, give better rewards for echoes, make echoes more interesting. Damn, they brought echoes are a really cool concept in the game, but executed goddamn poorly. Listen, I don't give a toss. I played my whole main story playthrough without even equipping a single echo. I couldn't give a toss about echoes, man. Shiny echoes are also disappointing. Yeah, I've never cared about shiny echoes at all in this game.
Oh yeah, that is true. It's like the whole shiny echo state. That sounded like a real cool concept and like idea when the notes patch notes were released about like what we were to expect Wuthering Waves. It sounded great in theory and it sounded really good on paper. But man, is looking back on it now, yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Like even then, it's like yeah, okay, the whole idea of like yeah, the shiny echoes. Really, and hold on, the shiny echo thing is just like a skin, like a reskin of like the creature. Now, don't get me wrong, a couple of the designs of the creatures look on the echoes look good, but it's like it's just their skin. And also, you can also get the shiny echo from the shop by doing the Elusive Realm event. So it's like kind of like, what's the point of like the whole shiny echoes thing? Like, do you hear anybody talk about shiny echoes until like just besides it being mentioned in this video? Like, who has talked about shiny echoes? Really, who? Like, it's just a yeah, it was a terrible idea that got executed poorly. Well, not yeah, it was an idea that got executed poorly and terribly. Not saying that it was like bad at face value. It sounded interesting, but it's kind of
Game. I literally have never cared about shiny echoes. I also kind of feel bad for Yin Lin. She wasn't shown in the trailer and she went rogue agent stuff. Have they add story event? Dude, Raze, you bring another point. You bring another point that I really don't like. Well, this is to do with gacha games in general, right?
okay. What is it?
This is why. Okay. This is why. Okay. When you have a gacha game where you release a new character, let's say every 3 to 4 weeks, it's so hard for the game to develop a story for that one character that's deep and you can maybe relate to and you find it interesting unless that character is integrated into the main story. If that character is not integrated into the main story in a meaningful way, it's very hard to kind of care about them and give them enough content for you to feel satisfied about them. Because once the main story part is gone, once their ban is gone, that's it. Maybe you'll get one story quest updated in future, but it's unlikely. Look at Genshin Impact, the amount of characters that they release and you kind of forget about after Yinlin's not even involved in the main story in any kind of meaningful way, right? It's really hard to be excited about the characters you pull for. Changli and Jinshi are different, right? Because they're involved in the main story. But we'll forget about them down the line.
Yeah. That okay. I understand what you're talking about, and I do agree. It is kind of hard to like introduce a whole brand new character, and it's like unless she's not part of unless the character is not a part of the main story that is currently going on in the game at that very moment, the character most likely will probably be forgotten, and people won't remember like what happened during the character's story quest. Again, again, it's unfair to compare it to because two different. As you know what, in this aspect or this yeah, in this aspect, it's not unfair because we're just talking about characters, right? Honkai Star Rail, the way they implement their characters and the way they introduce their characters is such great pacing because at the current moment of where you're playing in Honkai Star Rail, when it comes to the main story, you get introduced to these characters, and these characters play a vital role in the story that you're currently playing. and they even add their own spin, or they add their own unique, they they just get added into the story as like you're playing, the game. Like say for example, freaking Kafka, right? Kafka, she's kind of like, she's a part of the main overarching story in Honkai Star Rail, right? But when she got, but when we got more in depth into, kind of like who she is and like what she's doing, right? And the what was that, 1 point? I don't want to be wrong. Three. I want to say 1.3. When she got introduced and her companion story quest got introduced, it was a great point to where you implement her companion quest, because it was a part of the main story, and it kind of like left you off like the scene where where Da Hong turns into a Barber Lune, and he's fighting Yang Qing and Blade, and Kafka is there as well. Jin Yuan pulls up, and Jin Yuan says to Kafka and Blade, thank you for bringing my friend here. It's like, you may go. He's like, yeah. He's like, you may go. Like, we're done here. And then Kafka and Blade, leaves, and then some people were probably thinking, oh, it's like, okay, they're just leaving. It's like, huh, I wonder what's gonna happen to them. And I don't know if it was in the same patch as well when that story was going on, in the Law Fu, but I think it was. But it's like okay, what's gonna happen with like Kafka, and Blair or whatever? They just left. Jing Wen just let them go. We come to find out that in Kafka's story quest and her companion quest, we meet up with her. If you pick the right dialogue option, you meet up with her, and you know Blaze. No, Kafka's one poster gets removed, but Blaze stays. That's where you find out about that from her. Um, but yeah, it's like, and then you go into more detailed story about like Kafka and Blade and maybe the other Serval hunters. But yeah, that's just like a great way of like implementing the character into the main story at the current moment or pacing of where the story's at for that game. And so I think for Cabinet said, with freaking Wuthering Waves, it's like Yinlin. It's like, yeah, we got that quest, and it's like that's it. There's no other involvement going on with her. I mean, maybe down the line, but it's like, how further down the line is that going to be? Like, how long that's going to be, right? And it's like what Genshin is doing, where it's like, oh, you read a character story about this particular character, cool, okay, and we don't get part two for that character for like several months later, and then you kind of forget. Wait, what happened the first time we did this character story quest with this character? I don't know. Weird stuff.
Or forget about them too, like you do for all the other ones. This is why I'm a big Love and Deep Space shill, because they only have 4 goddamn characters you could experience, but you pull for more stuff and more story for your characters every single banner. It makes you so much more invested in the cast, and they keep you caring about a certain character. Whereas games like this, where they pop out, like new characters like crazy, it's really hard for them to make content engaged around it. Yidlin just spawned in, she has no real input into the main story. We can't even understand we're talking about gacha games, not Elden Ring. This game's not that deep. It's not that deep, but it could be. This is the thing. These games could be. There's no reason why they can't. There's literally, these games make so much money, there's literally no reason why they can't make it more deep. I'll be so real. There's no reason why they can't. Yeah, the Honkai Break 3 battlesuit model I liked a lot. Quality over quantity, exactly. That's why I love and Deep Space, and that's why it's making so much money. Because people care about the characters, because they keep adding to the characters' personalities, stories, and lore. That's why it makes so much money, and that's why it does get you right. Because you pull for more stuff about the characters you care about, rather than pump out 2 characters every other week. That's very... The majority of the characters in Genshin are just there and completely ignored. Xinyan or some more characters are just... Exactly! Unless you're an Archon, you're not really that important. I think we're pointing out the issues here because this game has so much potential, high end compared to most gachas, and I root for its harder. I root for its growth too. But you know what? People said the fucking exact same thing about Genshin Impact. People said the same stuff about Genshin Impact, and nothing changed. right? So I hope Kuro listens to us more because they have been listening more. So I really hope they take it into account. You know, I do like the quality of life updates we are getting in 1.2 as well. Yeah, exactly. So I think I've come to my conclusion about my current thoughts of Wuthering Waves and the state of the game. Okay, so I appreciate y'all for being respectful. I love having this dialogue with you and, you know, in my chat.
Yeah, sure.
This has been very respectful. Again, I don't hate the
Appreciate
game.
it.
I wish well for it, but I think it's really important to point out things that we don't like. If we don't talk about things we don't like, things won't ever change. You know. So yeah,
I think that is a good. Oh, hold on. She's about. I think she's about to finish up here. No, I'll let her finish up.
that's kind of my feeling. That's kind of my thought. So I appreciate you all being very respectful about this, and having a really good dialogue. This has been a very, very interesting conversation. This has been a very, very interesting conversation.
Yeah, no. Great video. Great video as always. I do. Yeah, I do agree with her. I think just offering constructive criticism towards a game, that's normal, right? Because you want the game to be better. Because and here's the thing: it's not just because you like the game; it's also because and you're not the only one. You see the untapped potential that could be exposed, and that the game could skyrocket to a whole new level. It's there. It's waiting. All you gotta do is just take the necessary steps, and the game is it becomes something so beautiful, something brand new, right? And that's just the thing. And people think that hanging on the game. No, it's offering criticism to a game to make the game better, and to get more players to want to keep playing the game and not leave the game, right? Because of course people are gonna leave, dip in, dip out to do the dailies, right? But as far as it's only because if you keep consecutively doing dead patches and filler patches and nothing interesting happens or is going to happen, or nothing is going on, that's going to lead to like potentially less players caring about the game, and probably not even like they'll probably come out to play if there's like a real like cool character they want to try out. But other than that, it's like it's just gonna lead to like players not wanting to like play the game anymore. Right? That's where you lose some of your player base. And so I think what Captain was going through here, I think what she said is exactly right, and I think it's justified with what she's saying, right? It has been kind of like mid for Wuthering Waves, and I think it is okay to point it out, say what the issues are, and hopefully they have been listening, right, to any issues to all like the quality of life issues and complaints that players have had. Hopefully they listen to this. Hopefully, and take some of the points and criticism, and take it to heart, and understand like why these are the things that we don't like what the game is doing, and we just want the game to be better. I just hope that they understand that, and people need to understand that as well. But if there are sensitive people on the internet, so who cares, right? Who cares what they have to think? They're just too sensitive to take a freaking criticism, freaking thin skin. But yeah, great video by Captain Calvinus as always. Make sure to go like the video, and like the video, go subscribe to her, check out her channel. She posts really fun content, and I do hope that Wuthering Waves does pick up its slack, because they are directly competing with Zone Zero, and Zone Zero right now, it's like there is a lot more fun stuff, a lot more fun content and like stuff coming, and Zone Zero, that is like, okay, Wuthering Waves, what's your answer? What's your counter? How are you going to prevent players from dipping your game, and now they're gonna be stuck for the next couple of weeks playing Zone Zero? How are you gonna do it? Anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about my opinion about this whole situation, about Captain Cabinet's whole opinion. are we right? Are we wrong? What do you agree or disagree with? You know, is there and is like do is there something that Waterways can do to like fix its current state? What's going to happen? Who knows, right? Let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. It really does help show support for the creator. And as always, I will catch you all in the next one.